SMH, the VanEck Semiconductor Fund, is up 54% this year alone. And I already told you guys on Thursday, I hold this as 15% of my real portfolio. So the question that I've been getting all week, did I miss it? Am I too late to buy? Or is this thing just getting started? And guys, I want to give you a real answer to that question that I keep getting. Not hype, not the doom answer, a real honest breakdown, what the SMH actually is, what it has done, and what could definitely go wrong when it comes to these ETFs, and whether I'm still buying at these levels, because of course, 15% is a pretty large position in portfolio, and you need to know exactly how this ETF works. So let's go ahead and break this down. Let me get started with the SMH, because a lot of people hear semiconductor ETF and they assume they know what is actually in it without actually understanding it. This tracks the 25 largest US listed semiconductor companies. They are weighted by market cap. This means the bigger the company is, the bigger position in this ETF it's going to have. And the concentration with this ETF is very extreme. When we look at Nvidia, it's 17.5%. The Taiwan Semiconductor, 9.74. Intel's at 7.5. Broadcom almost at 7.5. And AMD sitting at almost 7%. When you start looking at the top 10 holdings of this ETF, it is 73% of the entire fund, which is kind of crazy. And even looking at the growth we've seen with Nvidia, it can raise from 17, 18, even as high as 20% in this ETF, which is kind of crazy. So it means when you're looking at this with the SMH, you're essentially betting on Nvidia in its entirety with 20% of this ETF and the AI chip build out that they're doing, with the basket of other semiconductor leaders that we see in the space, which is not inherently bad, but it's something you need to understand before you put money in, because this is a very strong sector and this has a really big concentration. Now the expense ratio on here, 0.35, so definitely higher than the VOO or the QQQM. You're paying a premium with this ETF because of the concentration in that sector exposure. And if it's really worth it, and if you think semiconductors are really going to continue to grow in the future, I want to walk you through two cases right now that really do showcase that. So let me give you the full bull case that we see in here, because this is what is very compelling right now. And I say this from someone who actually owns it. I'm not just talking about the position, not talking about someone who just theoretically talks about it. I actually have money in it, and I do, and you've seen it. So structural alignment for semiconductors are the strongest that we've really ever seen through all of history. AI is not just a software story. AI is also a mega and huge hardware story. When we start looking at AI models, large language models, every data center, every autonomous system running AI will require chips, will require semiconductors, specifically the type that AMD is making, TSMC, that Nvidia, that Broadcom are making, hyperscale capital expenditures. That is when we're looking at Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Google. They are building out AI infrastructures across the world. And it's kind of crazy because these projects are hitting an estimated at almost $700 billion in 2026 alone. Money flows directly in the order of the SMH top holdings, and they have the need for the chips. Now, when we start looking bigger case scenario, global semiconductor sales are forecasted to be almost $100 billion this year, which is up almost 27% to last year. AI chips, about 50% of total semiconductor revenue in 2026. Starting to see really hyperscale AI. A lot of inflows coming into this ETF itself. Taiwan Semiconductors, of course, doing incredibly well. And the CHIPS Act expansion. Government, of course, looking at the semiconductors and the need for them in their entirety. And there's also a lot when we think about memory super cycles in here at the top of this, very high bandwidth memory, specialized chips that really set in AI processors, feeding them data. And right now, there is a massive shortage of chips right now. Prices are projected to spike 30 to 50% by the end of the year, which is kind of crazy. And that is the reason why some of these, like Micron, we have seen really shoot up, because if margins go up, stock goes up, SMH is going to go up as well. Institutional money is saying it is very important. AI is the technology. AI is the next hot thing. $3.7 billion flowed into the SMH in April of 2026 alone, which is kind of crazy. Not investors chasing momentum, but looking at hedge funds, pensions, institutional investors, putting money into an ETF that is very, very specialized in that one sector of the semiconductors. And we're going to see this continue to boom, in my opinion, for the next 10 to 20 years. Now, of course, if we're doing the bull case, we have to do the bear case as well, because I would be very dishonest or disheartened if I didn't, because of course, there is the concentration risk for a lot of people, knowing that the 5 holdings make up 50% of the fund and Nvidia is almost 20% of this fund itself is kind of interesting. Now, looking at the Taiwan risk, the TSM manufacturer, they have 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Anything that is going to impact that could make a big difference. If it's tariffs, if it's shipping, if it's oil prices, that could make the valuation and that could make the cost of them actually skyrocket if the demand's not there, or if the demand is there and the supply can never catch up. That could be looking at different things. Now, of course, when we start looking at the TSMC, it is the second holding in the SMH, like we talked about, nearly 10% of the fund. If there's tension between China and Taiwan, you could see a little bit of dip. And even knowing in here the historical drawdown data, SMH has dropped 33% in 2022. Even looking in the S&P 500 only dropped 19, and it dropped 45% in 2008 when the housing market took a dip, which is huge, which is big, guys. But then when we start looking at the upside as well, it is absolutely extraordinary. In 2023 alone, 73%. 2025 was another 49%. And then we're up 54% in 2026 alone. Now, the downside in this, again, because of the segment, because of the sector, is really big, but the upside in here is really big. So if you're a person that cannot stomach a 10, 20, 30, even 40% drop in an ETF, do not invest in this one, because there is going to be a lot of volatility with it. And that's exactly what we're seeing in here. Now, back to the original question, guys. Is it too late to go ahead and invest in this? It is up 54%. In the last 12 months, it is up 126%. And really, I want to answer this with data rather than just a right or wrong, because if the pattern continues to repeat itself, it has a really big run up, maybe a year, 2, maybe even 3, followed by a pullback, usually 20 to 30%, followed by an even bigger run up is what we've seen again historically. When we look at 2021, 42% gains. Again, 23 was 73% gains. And investors who said they missed one of the biggest run-ups we've ever seen, which is kind of crazy. People who said in 2023 that it was way too expensive to get into, after a 73% miss, then we had another 49% gain. Now we're looking at a 54% gain. So does it mean the pullback isn't coming? No, a pullback within ETF is always possible. I would say at these levels, a 10, 15, maybe even 20% correction we could see in the last 12 months. But when you start looking at long-term investors, in my honest verdict, it is right for you. And this is an ETF if you meet these criteria. Number one, time horizon of over 10 years. You can stomach the 20 to 30% downturns. You have VOO or something similar as that core position. And of course, looking at a 10 to 20% max, a satellite position when we start building this, because this is a big, big risk when it comes to the concentration. Now, of course, if you have a shorter horizon, it is definitely not one for you. If this is your owner holding, and if you're going to panic at the 10 or 15% decline, this is not you. If you're getting towards retirement, absolutely not going to be one that I would have. Now, of course, like I said, I hold the SMH as 15% of the portfolio. That's really the cap where I'm comfortable with. The reason is because it's very meaningful in semiconductors. I have a lot of faith in. I feel, again, the next 10 to 20 years, it's going to absolutely continue to run up, which means a portfolio. And for sizing wise, I might have to go in there and do some rebalancing depending, because we're still putting money and dollar cost averaging into positions through M1 Finance, which does work incredibly well. So the bottom line, guys, on the SMH, it's not too late, but this is an ETF that is not for everybody. The bull case is real. The data has absolutely supported it for an extended amount of time. The bear case is also real, and history has proved it with those pullbacks. But if you're really highly conviction, highly volatile position within these, and really knowing that a VOO, VTI is kind of the foundation, this should never be your core holding, because this is a satellite position. This is a sector risk. And of course, when you start looking at that 10 or 20% correction, you have to be able to stomach that in its entirety. Because of course, if you have a position and you don't have the ability of something like the VOO, the SPMO behind it, and even a very short time horizon, it can absolutely direct and absolutely destroy your portfolio in the entirety. Now I want to hear from you guys. Are you currently holding the SMH? If you are, what is the percentage that you're holding it in there? And if not, is it something that you're watching or something that you'd consider after watching this video in its entirety? Drop it down in the comment, guys, because I read every single one. And after last Thursday's portfolio reveal, you know exactly what I have. And if you're new, welcome to the channel. Definitely subscribe, because this is the type of content that we're doing every single day. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video.